Alright, so after this great conversation, let's look at another area. In your folder, you'll find another sheet of paper. And here it says motivators to change. So what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to take just really a couple of minutes to choose those sentences, those motivators that you think are relevant in your life. And then we'll have a short discussion of that as well. Let me read it out loud. So these are, the first one is, I want my child to live a full and healthy life without life-threatening experiences due to allergen food. I want my child be able to communicate his health conditions to the ones who provide food for him without fear. I avoid allergen foods at home. However, I never thought about substituting with other items. My child rarely goes to play with his classmates to avoid potential allergic reaction as well as potential embarrassment. I want to know how much nutrients my child is missing due to avoiding allergen foods. I want to know what would happen if he socialized more with his friends. I know I can collect enough information to substitute allergen foods. I know I can teach my child how to be responsible and at the same time not to miss out on social time with his friends. My child's pediatrician emphasized the importance of nutritious food. My friends are inviting us and my child to go out more often with them. My child's health is extremely important. My child's emotional health is also extremely important. It is easier just simply avoid allergen food than look for substitute. It is easier to keep him home than teaching him how to communicate with others. And I love my child. So these are the areas that I'd like you to pick. Which ones you think are good motivators for you. Pick just 3, 4, or maximum 5 out of them. And while we do that, children, let's get together again. I have another fun game for you. This time we're going to have lots of coloring to do. And we're going to do a nutrients game. Alright, so let's get to work, all of us. So now you know what motivates you. Now let's look at the next step. What is the helping tool that will get you to the goal? We call them facilitators. Again, you've got a big list in front of you. And now what you need to do, you need to find those facilitators that matches your motivators, and we'll build it step by step to achieve a goal. Let's see, I will read it out loud again. And these facilitators are, I would buy substitute foods to replace allergen foods if I knew what food is appropriate. I would pay attention to nutrient intake of my child if I had information on what nutrients and how much daily is important for my child, as well as for the entire family. I'm not sure if I can afford nutritious food and if it's available in our stores. What if my family does not like the substitute food? I would teach my child how to communicate his health conditions to others if I knew and was confident on how to effectively do it. I do the grocery shopping and I prepare the food. I make decisions about where to eat out. I can be more prepared if I had better skills to read labels in supermarket. Besides focusing on allergen ingredients, it is also an opportunity to look for healthy versus unhealthy foods. I would speak up in a restaurant setup clearly about my child's allergies if I was not shy, embarrassed, and afraid of being rejected. I'm thinking about educating myself about nutrition if I knew where to look for information. I would be more confident if the surrounding community understood more about food allergies. I would like to learn goal-setting skills. Alright, so take a couple of minutes and match those motivators with these facilitators. And then we'll talk again. And in the meanwhile, children, we go and play again. You see, adults, you work. I enjoy playing with the children. So let's have a game of vitamins. We're going to learn a little more about the vitamins. And again, we're going to use our crayons. Alright, and then we will be back to continue our discussion. Alright, so that was a fun activity and great discussion. We know our motivators, we know our facilitators. Now let's look at actual knowledge. Let's look at each and every allergen food, or the most major allergen foods, and let's see what we can substitute them with. First is milk, cow's milk and cow's milk products. It is a major source of calcium, riboflavin, phosphorus, pantothenic acid, vitamin B12 and vitamin D when it's fortified, protein and fat. When milk is eliminated from the diet, alternative sources of these nutrients must be found elsewhere in the diet. So now we are going to look at these nutrients, what they actually do in our body, and where we can find them. So let's see, the first one is calcium. So calcium is very important for healthy bones and teeth. It also helps the heart and the nervous system and the muscles to work properly. Calcium can be substituted instead of milk by fortified alternative beverages such as soy, rice, oat, almond, coconut, hemp, potato, calcium fortified tofu, and calcium fortified juice. So we see that it's mainly fortification that we need to look at. And also we have to be careful that there are some other foods such as almond or coconut that your child can also be allergic to. Let's look at vitamin D. Vitamin D helps the calcium to build in our bones. And there is research on vitamin D that also links it to possible cause of allergies. So I think we'd better pay attention to vitamin D. You can substitute it with fortified alternative beverages, fortified margarine, fortified alternative yogurt, fish oils, salmon, and other fatty fish. Vitamin B12. It is important for our nerves and our blood cells' health. Also helps make DNA. When we are deficient in vitamin B12, very often we will feel tired. We can substitute milk with meat, fish, poultry, eggs, enriched alternative milk beverages. Vitamin A, important for our teeth, our skeleton, the skin, and our eyesight. You can substitute it with liver, egg yolk, fortified margarine, dark green leafy vegetables, deep orange fruits and vegetables, fortified alternative beverages. The next is pantothenic acid. Pantothenic acid is one of the B vitamins, which is very important in breaking down food into glucose, and therefore it's an energy source for the body. Meat, vegetables, eggs, whole grains and legumes, and fish can be an alternative here instead of milk. Riboflavin is also a B vitamin which breaks down proteins into amino acids. Therefore, again, our energy supply is it's very important in our energy supply. Dark green leafy vegetables, enriched and whole grain products can be substitutes. Protein is large molecules, and it is an essential part of any living organism. You can get it from meat, fish, poultry, eggs, soy products, peanut, other legumes, tree nuts, and seeds. And finally, fat. It is a very essential part of our diet. Our body makes fat, but we also have to take in fat from outside sources, and that can be vegetable oils, margarine, avocado, meat, fish, poultry, peanut, tree nut, and seeds. And the next food group that we will look at is grains. The most common is wheat allergy. Whole and enriched grains provide an excellent source of complex carbohydrates, thiamine, niacin, riboflavin, iron, dietary fiber, magnesium, and vitamin B6. In the United States, many grains are now enriched with folic acid. So now let's see what are the substitute foods for each nutrient. So niacin, thiamine, and riboflavin are actually responsible for converting carbohydrates into glucose. Therefore, they produce energy. So they are all part of the vitamin B group. So let's see, for niacin, what you can use is, or you can consume is meat, poultry, tuna, salmon, liver, peanuts, seeds, legumes, enriched and whole grain alternative grain products. For thiamine, you can use liver, pork, other meats, sunflower seeds, enriched and whole grain alternative grain products, nuts, and legumes. For riboflavin, milk, dark green leafy vegetables, enriched and whole grain alternative grain products. And the next is iron. Iron is an important component of hemoglobin in the red blood cells, and that is actually responsible for carrying oxygen. You can find heme iron in meat, fish, shellfish, poultry, and non-heme iron enriched and whole grain alternative grain product, legumes, and dried fruits. Folic acid helps produce and maintain new cells. And you can find them enriched and whole grain alternative grain products, beef liver, spinach, legumes, especially lentils, avocado, and orange juice. Carbohydrates are the most essential energy source for the body. Fruits, vegetables, legumes, and products made with alternative grains or flours such as rice, oat, corn, buckwheat, potato, tapioca, amaranth, millet, and quinoa. And last, fiber. Fiber helps move stool through the digestive system, and it also prevents colon cancer. It slows the rate how sugar is absorbed into the bloodstream. Therefore, it has significant role in controlling blood sugar level. Fiber-rich foods are fruits, vegetables, and alternative whole grains. And finally, we'll look at other allergen foods, which is soy, egg, peanut, tree nut, fish, and shellfish allergies. These foods in children are all nutrient-dense. However, they typically do not supply a large percentage of daily energy intakes and nutrients. When there are other dietary constraints, such as vegetarian diet, a picky or fatty eater, or diet restricted for religious reasons, it makes meeting nutritional needs more challenging. After discussing the substitute food, there is one more area that I consider very important, and that is why label reading is important. Common food allergens or major allergens are identified by law and are required full disclosure on product labels. And so when we pick up a product, we read the labels. We have to, because we want to identify first the allergen in the food. But there are two other reasons why we would want to read. First, in processed food, there's a lot of additional ingredients that may not be very beneficial. And also, we may as well want to be aware of the nutrient content of the food that we purchase. I found an interesting case study and I wanted to share this with you, so I will read it now. A 7-year-old boy with wheat allergy developed severe anaphylaxis with pharyngeal edema, cough, wheezing, generalized urticaria, and emesis within 45 minutes of ingestion a small piece of cornbread that was baked at home from a store-bought mix. The inspection of the package revealed that the mix contained wheat flour, a second ingredient on the list. The boy's father recalled reading labels on 2 cornbread mixes in the store, one that was wheat-free and one that contained wheat. He thought he purchased the wheat-free cornbread mix. Key message: label reading is challenging and mistakes are common. The ingredients may change at any time, and constant vigilance is imperative. Reading product labels once at the point of purchase and then again prior to ingestion will help patients catch errors in label reading before a reaction occurs. So let's take a moment and let's discuss, has it ever happened to you? And what do you do to prevent it in the future?